Welcome back to the Four Podmen, the wrestling podcast that we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe, super kick that bell notification. Also, we're available on Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, wherever you pick up your podcasts. You will find us there, the Four Podmen. And this week we have a very special episode. We're going to be looking at the life of Jim Crockett Jr., who recently passed away. We're going to be taking a look at Andrew Tess Martin's career as well. His anniversary is coming up. And we're also going to be having a quick review of the latest AEW pay-per-view Revolution. But joining me tonight, as always, you got Joe the Beef Doignan. Joe, how we doing?
Sorry, I had myself on mute.
No problem at all.
Yeah, I'm all good, pal. Always good to chat to you boys.
Good.
Highlight of the week.
I'm also joined by the Marlon Brando of Irish podcasting, the podmaster himself, the podfather, in the Dynamo Kelly. How we doing, my man?
I like that one. That's a new one. I'll take that one every day. I like that. I love Marlon Brando.
We'll be shortly joined by the D-O-double-G, the road dog himself, Jason Kennedy. But we're going to push on anyway. So the first topic I thought we'd look at tonight is obviously Jim Crockett Jr. passed away. As I said in a couple of posts you might have seen, I tweeted them and stuff like that during the week. This man was integral in my love for wrestling as a child. Back in the 80s. He was basically the NWA's version of Vince McMahon, but with a bit more sympathy and remorse, I would say.
Yeah.
He's responsible, obviously, for Jim Crockett Promotions, heavily involved in the NWA territory situation. It was a family-owned wrestling promotion that started in 1931 and was passed over to Jim, based in Charlotte, was passed over to Jim Jr. in 73. And he ran it all the way up to 88. When we know exactly what happened then, it was passed over to Ted Turner, who bought it out, and it became WCW, and the rest is really history. But I said I'd bring him up on the podcast this week because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't, recognize his passing. I think it's really important because he was responsible for the expansion and he was responsible for the NWA territories and the NWA Council, of which on 3 occasions he was a president of that council. And he firmly believed in the territory system and was enshrined in it, until certain moves were made by WWF, WWE up in New York to expand out nationwide. And then he felt he had to consolidate some of the territories because basically the NWA was being overrun by WWF. He tried to pick up, like he was spreading out on a national expansion between 78 and 83 was regional through Tennessee, Western Virginia, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio. Then he went on a national expansion in 83 to 85, culminating with, such guys like Dusty Rhodes and all coming on as a booker and part of the council as well, forming some of the well-known pay-per-views that we know today, like Starrcade, Great American Bash, Clash of Champions, War Games, all this kind of thing. Made moves then to also take over the UWF to try and create competition against Vince. And Vince ended up running against Starrcade by running against him with Survivor Series. And he tried to get Starrcade moved. And Vince contacted the cable networks and said that if they moved Starrcade, he would pull his programming from their cable networks, basically. So Starrcade went ahead at the same time as Survivor Series. The rest is kind of history. And then Jim Crockett Promotions came under a lot of financial pressure. And ended up ultimately consolidating and selling on to Ted Turner and became WCW. The legacy that the man leaves behind is no doubt. Most of the wrestlers you see out there that are legends, the likes of Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Lex Luger, Road Warriors, Four Horsemen, Barry Windham, the Garvins, Sting, Nikita Koloff, Jim Cornette, all these guys, Rick Rude, Rock and Roll Express, J.J. Dillon, Dr. Death, Steiners, and Harley Race, all really cut their teeth through the NWA system and really got exposed from a TV point of view as household names through Jim Crockett Promotions and Worldwide Wrestling. So that is the legacy that he leaves. Of course, not forgetting, as we said already, Starrcade, Clash of Champions, Bunkhouse Stampede, War Games, to mention just a few. But the man is definitely a legend in the business, and he was definitely the NWA's version of Vince McMahon. And we remember him and we toast him. So rest in peace, Jim Crockett Jr.
Can I just add a few words there to that?
Absolutely.
Just briefly. Just in terms of Noel, you know him the same as you. When it comes to the old school NWA and the territory days, I watched. I recently watched Donnybrook with Pat O'Connor and Lou Tez in black and white that most people would probably find boring, but that's probably most people in modern days that would find boring. I think when you go back and watch things like that and how it was promoted, when you look out in the front rows, there was no difference in a match like that than there was with Muhammad Ali versus whoever else. It was just, this was down to their absolutely amazing promoting skills that the Crockett family had. I dare say that without the Crockett's, there would be no Vince McMahon anyway, because he learned from those guys too. I mean, they all learned from each other. So yeah, I think that's a phenomenal little rundown and a tribute. I can't put any words that would better kind of, I suppose, explain how big an influence he was in the world of professional wrestling. So rest in peace.
Yeah, I think really if any of our viewers or listeners want to go back and have a look, a lot of those old episodes are available on YouTube, and it's real studio style. So if you're a fan of NWA Power, you will definitely be a fan of the old Jim Crockett Promotion stuff. It's a very similar style, the way it's recorded and the way it's presented. Absolute brilliant show. And the way I describe it, I was on a podcast earlier today. The way I described Jim Crockett Promotions was back as a child in the 80s. Like WWE was the show that I watched because I wanted the glitz and the glamour and the characters and all that kind of stuff. But Jim Crockett Promotions is where I really went for my wrestling. It was basically my NXT. Yes. It was like my NXT. So that's the way I describe it. And that's the biggest compliment I can give to the man. So I suppose we'll welcome in the D-O-double-G, fresh from work. How are we, my man? How's it going?
I'm good. Forgive my tardiness tonight, man. It was a trek and a journey home, but
not a bother at all.
You're here. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just you came in on that, Jay. I don't know if you any memories back of Jim Crockett Promotions. I know you're a fan of NWA Power, so.
Yeah, it's only when you go back and you look at YouTube stuff, you realize that NWA Power is a complete tribute to everything he did. I think that's why I love it so much. I never really got a lot of it the first time round, but studio-based wrestling is a very wrestling-based product. It's almost like you said earlier on. Vince was at his best when he had a foil worth fighting and worth battling with, and there were Coke and Pepsi at one stage for a long time, and it was the alternative to the stuff you didn't like. And
that's genius, by the way. I don't even realize whether you realize what you said there. Studio wrestling was wrestling-based wrestling. It's actually the truth.
Yeah,
it's so true, because if you can actually get over in a studio full of 100 people and actually put on a great story, I mean, that is the measure of how good your work is. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you, James.
You didn't. You're absolutely correct. It's the reason why I've pressed the reset. The way the contemporary wrestling has gone and how they keep raising the bar on each other to the point where they're not wrestling for us anymore. They're wrestling against each other as companies. And sometimes you just need a timeout, and you're like, I just want to watch product. I want to watch product with people who wrestle and enjoy doing what they do in the ring, as opposed to looking towards the outside of the ring and what's their next step on the fame rung, or ladder. And
100%.
That's studio wrestling. And look, we've seen it again. There's obviously still something to the product and its value as a commodity, because as soon as Billy Corgan shut down his infant operation, his whole roster was looted. They just all put a paw in and took a piece of it. Yeah. And he'll continue to pull people off the indies who aren't shocking and just want to be wrestlers. And again, even the likes of Trevor Murdoch, and looking at him down there and having a second rejuvenated run, and you just see that old style. It's good. It's wholesome. You know what I mean? It's not bra and panties matches, and I love it. And again, we know who to blame for it. You just pay tribute to him.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's wrestling you can watch with your kid, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like even when you look at the crowd that does be at Power, that they're kind of nearly like an 80s crowd, you know, that kind of way. It's a real throwback where it's like, you know, they're just people there who, you know, just love a bit of wrestling and it's their night out, you know, that kind of way. And it was a regular weekly thing.
Still real to them, damn it.
Absolutely, you know. And, you know, for most people connected with the business, it's still very real, you know, in some aspects. So, yeah, rest in peace, Jim Crockett Jr. So I thought we'd move on then. This week is the anniversary of the passing of Andrew Test Martin. And again, I thought we should recognize his passing, again, being one of the, we spoke a lot of times about the big men in wrestling. And I thought this lad is one of the big men in wrestling. And boy, could he wrestle and good work as well, you know. So I thought we'd just have a quick rundown of his career, just to pay tribute to him, you know. So born 17th of March 1975, Paddy's Day, so you know he's a winner with us. Passed away March 13, 2009, age 33. Trained by Dory Funk and Bret Hart. Couldn't ask for a better combination of trainers. And was active in wrestling from 97 all the way to 2009. His achievements, he was ranked in Pro Wrestling Illustrated 37 of the PWI 500 back in 2001 as a singles competitor. Most of us would remember him for a lot of his tag team work and stuff like that. But his accomplishments, his accomplishments in WWE, he was two-time hardcore champion, one-time European champion, one-time Intercontinental champion, and then he was WCW and WWF tag team champion, once with each with Booker T. Some of the highlights of his career that I would run down through, he was obviously involved in the Young Americans, which I thought was kind of brilliant at the time. He was always a solid worker for a big man. I always liked his combination tag team with Test and Albert. He made his debut on Raw is War in a sketch with Motley Crue that most people may or may not remember. He gave credence to the big boot finisher. If you ever seen his finisher, when he hit you with that big boot, you were being put away and it was the 1, 2, 3. He was involved in many factions. He was in the Corporation, the Un-Americans, and the Alliance. And a kind of a personal one for me. He was due to appear in the shop because he was due to come over and go on an AWR tour with Joe from OTT. Mm-hmm. And he passed away prior to that tour. Mm-hmm. But he was also due to appear in the shop and do an appearance at the same time. And I'm not sure, he was either replaced, I think, by Chris Masters or Gangrel, I'm not sure. But we'll pay tribute to Tess, and we're remembering Tess this week, who passed away. One of the big men who could walk in the ring. And rest in peace, Andrew Tess Martin.
Yeah, just it's funny you say that, Niall, because when you mentioned that you were going to be doing that today, I was talking to Michelle Billington, who used to put a lot of those guys up in Calgary, because they had tenements. That was Dynamite's old tenements. So it's Dynamite's ex-wife, and she was talking about Andrew Tess Martin in particular, about how good a guy he was and how much of a student of the game he was for a big man. You know what I mean? He wasn't just some, you know, Razor Ramon coming in just to try and get all the money and try and ruin anything. He was actually coming in as a student of the game and really wanted to respect everybody that came before him and after, and try and lead a, I suppose, a righteous path in the sense of his character, his in-ring work. And I think that pretty much shows with his character. And, you know, he was also involved in some of the big storylines, obviously with the whole Stephanie Triple H thing as well. So it was a huge character. And yeah, absolutely. I think it's very, very apparent that we should honor Test on his anniversary.
Absolutely. Anything to add, Joe?
He was one of those guys that I always thought was a big missed opportunity for WWE. Like when they put him in that thing with Steph and Triple H, like how they didn't strap a rocket to him after that is beyond me.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Triple H politicked him out of it. Yeah,
that's the only answer. That, especially back then, right?
Yeah, another big blonde-headed fella that, you know, could have been a lot, could have been a bigger name than him. It's the only explanation I can think of, because he had everything. He had the look. He could wrestle. Okay, granted, he mightn't have had the mic skills maybe, but I don't remember him too much on the mic, to be fair. Like, but he was. I always thought he was a missed opportunity. Could have been a hell of a lot bigger than he was. But RIP. I always enjoyed seeing him anyway when he was there.
Jay, any thoughts on Test?
Yeah, he was just, again, it's only on hindsight you realise that he was in the mix with an awful lot of men on the ascension, on the rise, and he was competent in every facet except for maybe the talking, and that obviously would have come with time. I mean, he wasn't in the mix that high up if somebody didn't see anything in him. And it's just often an overlooked tragedy simply because of the politics behind, the backstage area. But he definitely was if H was getting in the way of him, he clearly seen a threat. Do you know what I mean? He was a big man who was a competent wrestler. He was intelligent. He was no fool. He wasn't just, like Ian said, he wasn't just some lump of fucking beef in for the cash. He was in for the career. And unfortunately, that didn't bode well in that company at that time with how many people they were pushing. It was a serious time for kind of inter-talent competition for that ascension. But perseverance with big men like that always pays off. Sooner or later, the dial gets spun on you, and it's what you do with it and run the ball. But unfortunately, he never got the chance. 33 is a hell of an age to like. I mean, it's a lot younger than the standard we're used to.
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview before he passed, and he had stated in the interview that one of the highlights of his career was actually getting to go and train with Bret Hart. So that's a measure to the man there, But okay, so I suppose enough of the obituaries, if you want, and it's time to get on to the meat and veg and the gravy of this episode, which is a look back at AEW Revolution. And I know that I have three men along with myself here chomping at the bit all week to get hold of this on video. I honestly, I'm going to pass it over to you now in a minute, but I honestly don't know where to begin on this one. You know the way people make smart comments about putting the business back 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is. In some aspects on this pay-per-view, they're certainly trying their best. Ian, I'll start with you. Come in and talk to me about this pay-per-view. I know you have very strong views on it.
Well, I'll tell you where I'll start, right? Because I watched it not only, 3 hours ago. I was talking to you boys, actually, as I was watching it. And in particular, Jay, we were kind of having a bit of a rundown on it. I'll tell you where I'll start. Without starting in any particular match, I'm going to start with the promoter of the year, all right? Comes out on some sort of press conference or whatever show he was on, and literally shows that he is a fan. And Jay gave me a little gem today as well, which I will pass over to him when I'm finished here. But like, he comes out once again talking like a fucking fan by saying, "Oh well, John Moxley." I think it was. I can't, because to be honest with you, I don't want to give him my senses, so I can't exactly remember verbatim what he said, but it was along the lines of, "Well, this was John's brain idea, and blah blah blah. And we're just lucky no one got hurt, but we got away with it, because it was all John's idea, and we're basically, it was all gimmicked." And so he's literally just giving his own fucking story away. He's literally like opening the curtain on his own show. It's like he's the Wizard of Oz without a fucking clue, basically. It's the best tribute, if you want to call it that I can pay this man. Like, his dad needs to have a serious word with him and pull back the allowance, to be honest with you, and get someone in that can actually run the show, considering the talent that they do have backstage that can actually book shows. That's where I would start with the show, when you have an absolute moron coming out with stupid comments like that, because it's the second time he's done it. The first time he did it was with the whole chair being gimmicked, and he comes out and uses the word, "Well, the chair was heavily gimmicked because the books told me so." And then I suppose if you want to start with the opening match and you look at the action, those two fucking buffoons as well, with their little, double dual sharpshooters and stuff. And like, Jay made a very good point to me today. If that's the highlight of the pay-per-view, the opening match with Jericho and MJF. No disrespect to the two of them, because they can work. If that's the fucking highlight of the show, man, I'm a loss for words. But Jay, why don't you chime in next after me with that and say exactly what you said? It was basically fans shouldn't be. What was it? You know better.
Yeah, fans shouldn't be in the ring. Workers shouldn't be on the booking committee. Bookers shouldn't be workers. It was a fiasco of. Yeah. Literally a fiasco of where do you start? Like it was entertaining for all the wrong reasons. I mean, like we were saying, Ian, they had nearly 4 hours of a pay-per-view. They were asking for 50 quid, and they opened up with a match which was at best a week televisual main event. It should have been for the weekly episodical, not a pay-per-view. Yeah. Even at that, I just want my time back.
It's hard.
I looked at that match and I was trying to figure out, when the boys, we won't talk about gimmicks, but when they put the match together, how did they arrive at the point where they could make a guy like Jericho, who we revere on this show, look the weakest thing in that match? I mean, it's absolutely shocking. And it's like, I listen to reviews online about this, and they're talking about how great all this is and everything else. And I'm there looking, going, okay, that's grand. Just give me NWA Power again. Thanks very much. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are people not ringing in demanding their 50 quid back? From top to bottom in this card, I looked at it and was going, can I just have a match that is either 2 or 4 people wrestling and no interference? I don't want anything. I want a bit of a backstory. I want either 2 or 4 people wrestling, and I don't want everyone hitting the ring. I don't want a melee. I don't want explosions. I don't want a ref in a hazmat suit. What is going on there? What is going on there? Seriously, the only reason I thought that a ref was in the hazmat suit was I thought he was someone who was going to lay a storyline and pull off the mask like he's Shane McMahon or Vince or something, going, it was me, Austin. That's the only reason I thought he was there. What the hell was that ref doing looking like he just stepped out of a meth lab? It's absolutely shocking. And you know something? It's an insult to the business, and it's an insult to those people out back, those legends like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and people like that, Jake the Snake Roberts and lads like that who are involved in this promotion. It's an insult to those men. And those men won't speak up, obviously, because they're on the payroll. They obviously need the money and they need the income and stuff like that. But, like, they must be sitting backstage going, oh, my God. I mean, do we actually really believe that all this has to be laid at Tony Khan's feet? Is he actually the booker? Or is this the elite again, just trying to sell T-shirts, putting rubbish together? You know what I mean? Like I don't know how. If they've pushed MJF so much and they want him to be a star, what's he doing on the opening match? What's Jericho doing on the opening match? You know what I mean? I don't get it. I just don't get their whole thinking behind it.
Noel, let me ask you the question, and I'll actually put this to Joe as well. I'd love to know Joe's opinion on this. We talked about on our Dynamo's Dozen episode, for example, right? We talked about when we look at someone like Finn Balor or looking at whoever on NXT, they're always holding the shoulder. If the arm has been the target during a match that they're selling at the end, and you can tell that this is Triple H's vision, you know what I mean? It's old school vision. Make sure that the people believe it, blah, blah, blah. All that kind of great stuff, right? You see those two fucking, I want to say things that won't get us shut down. Those two morons, the Young Bucks, Balding Buck and little fucking chewing gum Buck, they got in shape before this thing. Now they just look like two little lads of nothingness. The Young Bucks, they just look like the two fucking Bland Bucks is actually the name that they should be called, the Bland Bucks. Like, there's literally nothing to them other than their ring gear. They sell nothing. It's all about, we do this thing in tandem. This, I have to say as well, this fucking absolute imbecile of a commentator. Oh, super tuber, T-bone, suicido, blah, 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 tandem. Like, can we not just get this lad fucking cancelled off television or audio forever? Seriously, can we cancel him? I'm wearing this, right? I feel like actually becoming Frank Castle and actually going after him personally and just getting rid of him from this earth and doing the world a favor. Well, fucking moron. Tope Suicino.
Ian, that's the announcer of the year you're talking about there, pal. Be careful.
I know.
Careful, Joe. Don't get him fired up. Do you know the worst thing about that, about the
He's
announcing
right,
thing,
though. He is right.
Yeah, but the worst thing about that is what he is saying and doing on commentary, whether we like it or not, fits the narrative of what's going on the show.
It does.
This is the problem.
It does.
And this is the problem. Like a lot of those guys there, like if you look at the talent that was on that show there the other night, if you take away all the bells and whistles and these matches and interference and running, like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, two fantastic wrestlers, walking down the handoff and exploding back.
Unbelievable.
They should just, legit. Why don't they just say no? You know what I mean? It's crazy, like, you know what I mean? And then the problem is as well, like you're looking at it.
How can Hangman Page and Matt Hardy not have a great match? Two phenomenal workers, right? Hangman Page, who you boys know, I think the world of. I think he's a diamond in the rough without a shadow of a doubt. And his talent will. I mean, he's only 26. He will eventually get where he needs to go to WWE, which he will eventually go there, and they'll run with him. But I mean, Matt Hardy, who's starting to look good again, like he's looking well, is what I mean. Like it looks like he's taking care of himself again. Just nonsense storylines from an absolute imbecile booker who walks around in a Fulham football club top all the time, and his hair's ragged. He looks like he literally looks like the Indian version of fucking Doc from Back to the Future. But at least Doc from Back to the Future had a clue. This lad has nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't enjoyable really at all, was it? In any facet.
Do you know what I was really disappointed about that match? Like I had put to the side the big money match where the winner gets the other guy's quarter earnings, first quarter earnings, whatever it was. Right? So straight away, that's bullshit. No one's handing over.
All right, yeah.
So I put that to one side and I was thinking, this is a rematch from Final Battle 2013 with two really good seasoned wrestlers in there. Let's have a good match. And it started out nice with a bit of a brawl. It was a decent match. And then it slowed to a crawl. And I was just there going, forget it. I'm out. Checked out. Done. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't.
I put this can to my head.
And again, I'm looking at all these matches. Like all those people, all those workers that were on that card the other day. Like there has to be an element of embarrassment in terms of, like, the women's match was by far the best match on the card. By far the best match on the card.
And it was shite.
But in terms of, had a backstory, you could understand some of the stuff that was going on. There was intensity. But there was a bit of intensity and a bit of brutality to it. But you know what I mean? When you put it in conjunction to all the other matches on the card, you know what I mean? It's just up and down the
I'm going to upset some ladies here now, and I'm just going to call it for what it is. I've taken stronger shites than what was in that match. It was shite. In fact, I've taken bigger shites than their champion, in fact. It's and then I listened to the scrum. Then I listened to the scrum with Tony Khan. And one of the questions was, oh, here we go. What was it?
Do we see AEW doing a women's pay-per-view in the near future? And the answer was absolutely. And I'm there going, oh good Lord, here we are. This lad has already decided he wants to be AEW, and it's over. It's done. Get out of there, lads, as quick as you can.
From the left-wing media to ask that question.
It's just, and here we are talking now. Think about this, right? We're 15 to 20 minutes talking about this already. We haven't even got to the main event. We haven't even got to the main event.
What main event? What was the main event?
Well, the main event for me was like, obviously they decided they wanted to have their own boneyard match. Like have they not got any creativity there at all where they could come up with their own ideas?
I think the problem there is there's too many Indians and not enough chiefs, or too many chiefs
Yes,
and not
sir.
enough Indians, whichever way that one goes. It's just everybody feels like they have a piece of what they think might work, and what they're missing is a man who's willing to say, no, 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 no. We have to project for a year's worth of programming. We've got some good, solid talent here. We've got a lot of slop. But what we need to do is stop fucking spinning the wheel on bits and pieces of aspects of different companies that seems to be working for them in different regions, and just throwing all the shit at the wall and hoping something sticks. I need certain things to be in place before I sit down and watch a pay-per-view that long. I didn't know it was going to be that long. I wouldn't have bothered with it. But the very first thing I need is for the commentary desk to be interested in what they're watching. And I have never, ever heard Jim Ross so disinterested in sitting there watching a wrestling product. I'm like, if Ross isn't going to get behind it and lie to me, why should I sit here and lie to myself about what I'm watching?
And Shivani. Yeah.
I was never a massive fan of Shivani after. Like, I mean, I can't claim to be. I never was, but I never particularly minded him either. He's not like a Michael Cole who will go out and say I don't like him, or a Jerry Lawler who I know a lot of people love him. I never did. But again, I grew up watching a product where the commentary desk was integral to the continuity of the product. The one thing that remained the same, regardless of the talent and the matches and the gimmicks, the men at the desk wanted to see what was happening in the ring and had opinions, and strong opinions on it. Excalibur's his own biggest fan. He says things that he feels like he needs to get over with 7 or 8 people who are a big fan of his. Jim Ross just didn't want to be there. I think he's trying to creatively figure out a way to get fired without return, just so he can save any money from his contract if it does go to litigation. Tony Schiavone at one stage turned around and they were talking about the Big Show, his program, and Schiavone said, I'm actually commentating that. And he made the statement, and it's something I really look forward to and enjoy, commentating on all these up-and-comers coming up. And what I heard was, I don't like this, but I'm going to like that because nobody knows who they are yet.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, Tony. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for being honest in your own way.
Yeah. But you know when you look at the color commentary desk, and you know that like there has to be some sort of a dynamic and a relationship and it.
Chemistry, yes.
Yeah, that kind of like a cadence and a chemistry and a timing. And you know what I mean? Like if your friend Ian, we'll call him, comes in and starts going for a headlock, where does that leave Jim Ross to go? Where does it leave Tony Schiavone to go? They can't go anywhere. What are they going to do? They're going to turn around and go, this is actually a side lock into a hip toss, and your man's going and he's making
Noel, I'm gonna give you, in the great words of David St. Hubbins and Nigel Tufnell, I'm gonna give you a Spinal Tap reference. See, this goes to 10, this goes to 10. Now it's at 10, where can you go from there? Nowhere. But see, this one goes to 11. And that's the problem with fucking Mr. Masked Man. He goes to 11 on every fucking comment that he makes, which leaves, because Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, if it was the two of them with someone like Mike Tenay, I don't know why Mike Tenay is in the wilderness. I think Mike Tenay should be fucking the first person that they hire for the fucking job. If you had someone like a Mike Tenay, Tony Schiavone, and a Jim Ross, we don't need the heel color commentator anymore. We've established that. Those lads would have a perfect dynamic. This goon just literally steals all their thunder. And you can tell, Jay, we actually talked about this a few weeks ago, I think. Every time your man says, like, a suicide dive, that's what it's called, a suicide dive. Tope el Supercito! And you can actually hear Jim going, did you really have to call it that?
You won't even get this from the WWE's Spanish announcer desk.
No.
You know what I mean?
Joe, what does Joe think about that, actually? Joe, what do you think about that? Like, surely it infuriates you as well.
Well, look, if you look back on the classic teams, right, the classic commentary teams, so you look at your Gorilla Monsoons and with Jesse Ventura or Bobby Heenan or anything like that, you had one guy that was calling the match, and then you had the other guy that was telling you how painful it was, whatever it was that was happening in the match. Whereas AEW should have that dynamic where Jim Ross is calling it, and then Excalibur should be explaining how painful it is because it's happened to him and he's done it all. But instead, what's happening is Excalibur is stealing every bit of thunder. He seems to be in business for himself, and he's just calling everything. He's running his mouth the entire time, and he's leaving nothing. As you guys said already, as Noel said, there's nowhere for them to go. When this lad's losing the run of himself over absolutely nothing, they're just like, what? Like, where do we go now? Like, there's nothing for me to say except
he's at 11. Like, that's what I meant.
Exactly, and they're just they're kind of saying, right, well, now he's getting up now. What the? Where am I now? Jesus Christ!
But by the time he's called a side headlock, whatever he calls it, or that suplex, whatever it is, by the time the boys come in to give their commentary, the match has moved on 4 or 5 moves, so they've lost it. It's too late. You know, it's madness. Like, you know what I mean? But it did. Let's bring it back a little bit. Right? Let's just bring it back.
What would he call an arm drag?
Arm drag suicide.
Did you just come in on a point that Ian made earlier there? You talked about in that first match about how the Bucks didn't sell anything and all that. Like, but I remember seeing them in a match. I think it might have been a PWG, and one of them, whoever the dark-haired fella is, which is that Matt, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But
he call him that.
Right, his leg got attacked for the entire match, and he sold it for the entire match. There was a bit where he was going to do they went for the Meltzer driver, and he couldn't jump up onto the top rope because of his leg. Right. The thing is, what annoys me about the likes of the Bucks and stuff like that is they have it in them. You know, the talent is absolutely there. But they just seem to have run away. They've run away. They've let their egos run roughshod on themselves, and they're kind of ruining. They're not just ruining for them. They're ruining for the people that are watching it as well. You know, Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just tripping over my own words there. I was just a bit pissed off because I said the talent's there. They're capable of selling and making things look, you know, as legit as possible, but they just don't seem to want to do it or not.
I find they wrestle for themselves and not for us. I think they're in the ring for their own fandom. I don't. When they came down in the ring here that night, I just looked and I said, maybe this will be fun. Somebody's after getting into the Rockers wardrobe and rolling around and seeing what's stuck and then walked out in it. And then that's in the ring gear. That's just what I see in a modern, updated kind of edgier Rockers gear.
Yeah.
And I got a little excited at the first match. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down and watching wrestling. It's Sunday. I'm not in work tomorrow. This is going to be fun. 4 hours of watching what I tend to usually enjoy. That didn't happen.
The problem is those guys have created a niche of earning from taking the piss out of the business, and they can't get out of that bubble now. They can't get out of it. That's how they understand how to earn, by absolutely taking the utter piss out of the business. That's the only way I can describe it. And they're not on their own in there. There's a few of them. And it's just, they can't seem to escape from it. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be in a new organization that's in its infancy, that's going to hopefully be the competition in the future, right? And they still can't dig their heads out of being the t-shirt guys. And it's a real problem, you know what I mean? Like like if you think about it, some of the best work that was done on that pay-per-view was done, and I was highly surprised at this because I was concerned when he signed. I thought Sting's work rate in that warehouse match, I thought was top notch. I thought he worked really hard in the match. And I wasn't expecting that in there at all. I thought he was going in there to just soak up the gravy train and ride it out easy, you know what I mean? But he was the highlight in that match. This is the guy who's getting this.
Well, same with Darby Allin once again. Like, you know what I mean? It's these two guys are nothing. Like, you know what I mean? It seems to be that. It seems to be a bit of a trend here.
But you know what I felt was weird as well in terms of Darby Allin. I know we're fans of Darby Allin. You know what I mean? And we only spoke on a previous episode about how, you know, he has slowed things down and took some of the rubbish out, and he's listening to people and he's bringing credibility to himself and all. And then he ends up in this warehouse match. And it's like it resets it back again. You know what I mean? And it just didn't sit with me right, where they were trying to sort of take that kind of rubbish out of it and then end up in this type of match. I just felt like the whole card from top to bottom, between gimmick, between interference, between the stupid use of people and ideas, and every match. Why does every match have to be, you know, don't even get me started on that brass ring. Don't even get me started.
Can I say one thing, actually? I have one positive thing to say. I have one positive thing to say. I think I was actually really impressed with Billy Gunn's two boys. Man, they look like bucks, right? They're young bucks now. Do you know what I mean? I thought they looked good. They moved well. They looked fucking in shape. They kind of reminded me of their old man as well, because I think Billy Gunn is one of the most underrated workers pretty much in the history of wrestling. I thought I was very impressed with those two lads. I don't know if any of you boys agree or.
We're lost in the mix. You're right. There's a potential future for them, but it's the wrong place to start getting televised.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that. It was just something that came to mind, because I remember going, right, who do I think of? And I think, Jay, you're right there as well. The one thing, it's like when you're being introduced as Billy Gunn's kids and you come out in the gimmick that the Da wore as well, it's never the best place to start ever. Do you know what I mean? Because
it's a big shadow to be in.
It's a big shadow to be in. Like, you know, even if it's a brother or something like that, if it's not done in the own heart way, it's not really the right way. Do you know what I mean? You got to come out and kind of make it on your own in a different kind of way. And what I mean by the own heart way is you got to come out as the little bastard, or, you know, the antagonizer or something like that. You know what I mean?
Or on your own footing. Yeah.
Yeah, building it up to fucking turn or something like that. And I think, but no, I see potential in those guys. I mean, yeah, look, and that's me literally trying to figure it. I mean, Pac and your man, like, I mean, Pac should be in a match on his own against someone. Good Lord, we're talking about one of the best pound for pound wrestlers on the planet here.
That again, a lad who will just give you a solid wrestling match, 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Doesn't need interference. Doesn't need an exploding baseball bat. Doesn't need credible workers to run
ragged
and waste
coming out of the
time.
fucking arena. Yeah.
Just give me a wrestling match. I don't need any interference. Like every single match, if you go down through this card, every single match on this card was nearly a rip-off of New York, or it had some sort of stupid gimmick in it, or some sort of stupid moniker on the match or something like that. Like, who comes up with an idea that you're going to get a guy's first quarter earnings? Like, it's absolute horseshit.
That was horseshit.
You know what I mean? That's the kind of rubbish we were nearly getting on Thunder towards the end. You know, absolute junk. You know what I mean?
Vince Russo is free, lads, for a job. Can they actually hire Vince Russo? Because I tell you, he'd actually do better than what this is.
Right. Let's
just sorry.
Go ahead, Joe. Go on.
Just on the brass ring thing that you brought up, I think AEW have a really big problem with constantly referencing the big company. There's no harm in mentioning them, but like you had that ridiculous throne smash thing that Cody did. Was it last year or the year before? You now have
when they started.
You had Brody Lee coming in and doing a parody of Vince McMahon. You have the brass ring thing now. You know, like there's loads more there just off the top of my head. Like,
it's starting to feel like they have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I agree with that.
When it looks like they're becoming, and with all the gimmicks and stuff like that, it's like they're becoming of what TNA did years ago. Like, it looks like they're becoming a WWE light. You know, and you know, WWE do their thing. And I talked about this before. They just need to cut out their own section of what they do. And they're in danger now of going down that route that TNA did, becoming the WWE light. And they're going to fail fucking miserably if they do that. Because TNA fell on their face and they were dog shit for years because of it, trying to make it work, and it didn't work. And also another thing that I find with AEW as well, there's when you talk about how these guys say yes to everything, and you know that they're throwing ideas, seeing what sticks, and no one seems to be saying no to anything. There's a guy there, Brian Cage, right, has an abundance of talent, right? There's no doubt about that. But I don't know if he's worn them in AEW now, but he used to wear them in Impact. He literally has a pair of trunks that have the letters GMSI on them, or GMSI, getting my shit in. Like, you know,
is that what it says?
Pardon?
Does it say that? Yeah.
Yeah, GMSI, getting my shit in is what it stands for. And if that's the attitude that these guys are bringing to AEW, where they just want to do, I want these are the fucking 5 or 6 moves. I have to get in. Doesn't matter. because you almost never see a squash match on AEW. You know what I mean? To get a guy, some monster super over it, very, very rarely happens. Yeah. You know, so if they have that kind of attitude where I need to get my shit in, no matter what, it's going to go to shit. Like that exploding barbed wire death match thing, right? One thing I can't understand, one thing I really can't understand about it is one of the reasons John Moxley left WWE was he said, I hate hokey shit. And he's involved in that muck. And, you know, you just fucking, oh, I'm getting annoyed again. Sorry.
No.
Please do.
Please get annoyed.
Before we move on to that match, I want to discuss this brass ring match because it's just
the golden donut.
What the Cornet call it, the golden piles cushion, the hemorrhoid cushion.
But if Jim Cornette is listening to the 4 Podmen, please do, because we'll appreciate everything we do. And to be fair, we all need to fucking work in tandem together to get rid of this shit. No, I'll go back.
But I just want to get an understanding of this. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but this region for the brass ring, at no point was it ever about a TNT TV title with little or no history. How does that encompass the brass ring? Again, it's another piss take.
It's a dig to Vince McMahon, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was saying that about that and the throne and that kind of shit. Like, just stop it. Do your own fucking thing. Stop doing that shit. You hear Cody then talking about how we're not looking at what they're doing. I was like, you know, you mightn't be looking at what they're directly doing, but you're fucking referencing them way too fucking much.
Even that. And then the next day you'll read interviews going, we're open to some form of talent merger. It's like, well, only yesterday you were saying you were the alternative. The day before that you were saying you don't have a problem with it. The day before that you were smashing a H-Throne. Make your fucking mind up.
Jay is 100% right there, actually, because Jay is alluding to the fact that fucking Mr. fucking Jazz Hands himself was saying something, you know, me and Triple H knows the business, so maybe one day we could work together. And I think it was Jim Cornette saying, in no way fucking shape or form is Triple H going to work with you, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? And he's 100% right, because Kenny Omega is a fucking idiot. So are the Young Bucks. I don't believe that Cody's an idiot. I do believe in Cody's work. I believe in his ability in the ring and blah, 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 blah. But the problem is, for people like me that have been defending, and this is why Niall wanted me to kind of talk about this tonight. I've been defending this fucking product for a long time now. And as you all know, it's getting very fucking hard because I keep going, but trust the process. It's new. Trust the process. It's like having a football team, you know what I mean? And the manager is continuously making the same mistakes every fucking time. The trust the process moniker starts to fucking become a little bit stale after a little while. You know what I mean? And like Niall runs the upper tier, big football fan. Can Niall go in and manage Liverpool Football Club tomorrow just because he has dates and remembers fucking... you probably could do a job now tomorrow, Niall, to be fair.
Only because they're not playing till Monday, but I could do a job tomorrow.
but you know what I mean, though? The point I'm making is, like, we all have these passions that we love. Like, for example, I'm a big fucking hockey fan. Can I go in and fix the Calgary Flames tomorrow? No, I can't. In my head, I can. And on paper, I can. And in a fucking video game, I can. But in real life, I can't. And it's the exact same thing in pro wrestling. Mr. Tony Khan, with all due respect, sir, I wish no ill will on you. You know, I appreciate that you fucking put money into trying to, you know, bring a wrestling product. At the end of the day, we're talking about your decisions on a professional level. They are shit. They are shit. You have no place in the wrestling business other than funding it. Step the fuck away.
Another big problem.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, sorry, no.
Go on, go ahead.
Just
on the rant over anyway.
Just mentioning Tony Khan again. When you were talking about him at the start, when we started talking about him, just he has to stay away from TV cameras.
Yes, sir. Yes.
He has to constantly, as you said, Ian, fucking throwing the curtains wide open. Yeah. To what's going on behind the scenes.
It's infuriating.
Yeah, it's just as a wrestling fan, like it's there. Jesus Christ, Tony, I want to be. You do like when you watch a movie, you want to be transported into it and be part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do at wrestling. You want to be brought in. You want to be dragged in by it. But when you have someone going, oh no, peekaboo, this is what's happening here, you're like, oh, fuck off, dickhead. You know, I literally, you know what I mean? 'Cause you want to be.
If you don't believe in your own product, why should I?
Yeah, exactly. But you want to be, you want to be suckered in by it. You genuinely do, And we might give out about that like sometimes, but we actually do. We want to be brought in. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. We want to be brought in by it. And the last thing we need is some gobshite fucking talking about how, oh, this was gimmicked, that was done this way,
I don't want to know how Spielberg put the shark in the water.
Oh, I know how we did that, but anyway.
No, I do know, and then it kind of ruined it for me, but then I watched it again and I loved it. But you know what I mean? Some people, 9 out of 10 people don't want the illusion to be fucking ruined on them. You know what I mean? It's magic. You know what I mean? It's sleight of hand. It's, we don't need to know how Billy Connolly makes his jokes. We don't. We just need to be there to listen to them and be entertained by it, and that's it. And the problem is, people like Tony Khan, like I say, who has no place in. There's 2 places that he has no place in. A, booking a wrestling match, and B, talking about a wrestling match. All right, because he's a fucking fan. Now, like I said, with all due respect, I appreciate what he's doing, trying to create an alternative and funding something for pro wrestling and a different organization. That's fine. And I love the throwbacks that he's doing and making it look a little bit different and look a little bit like WCW, because I'm a fan of that, of the whole aesthetics, if that makes sense. But in no way, shape or form does he have any business booking or promoting wrestling matches. So him and Dave Meltzer can go fuck themselves. That's all I'm going to say on a professional level. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that, in the true words of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I just want to mention something, and it's going to lead us into the surprise signing, because I need to talk about this.
He's making me drink fucking beers in one.
Absolutely, lash them back, because you're going to need them. Christian Cage is backstage. Now, obviously, we don't know this because he's the surprise signing. Okay.
He brings his lunchbox, by the way.
Wait. I'm not finished yet here. Hang on. We have a match, the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And the final person in the match is to be announced.
Yeah.
Now, Christian Cage is backstage signing with AEW. And we get Ethan Page. And I'm just there now. Look, it was bad enough we got Ethan Page. But then finding out that Christian Cage was backstage for a Face of the Revolution ladder match. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is just... So I'm going to move on from that as quickly as I can, because the frustration is just boiling over.
Can we shoot on Christian, though, as well on this, in fairness?
Oh, we're going to have a conversation now about Christian Cage and how all the love we poured out for him at the end of that Royal Rumble just got washed away in that tidal wave in San Andreas that The Rock was able to fly right over in the speedboat. And I'm just, you know what I mean? Where do I even begin? Where do I begin with Christian Cage? Okay, I love Christian Cage. I love Christian.
I think we all do.
Me too.
As a character, as a worker, he was the guy who always battled against the company and tried his best to come out. And he went
evidently not as a man, though.
But just, you know what I mean? He walks out onto the stage, says nothing. Walks down to the ring, signs a contract, says nothing. Leaves and says nothing. And I, like, could there have been a worse surprise signing? And by the way, be careful when you call these guys future Hall of Famers, because unless AEW are setting up a Hall of Fame, these kind of career moves
are devastating.
Are devastating to the legacy of your career.
Doyle, I'm gonna call you on something there, and I don't mean in a bad way. I'm gonna call you on your memory. In fact, doesn't that remind you of that ridiculous time that Jericho came back? One of those times where he walked down to the ring and said nothing. Do you remember he'd done that for about 3 weeks in a row, and people were like, "What the fuck's happening here?" Remember he came back and he was just like, and then walked away. No, at least that was done with a bit of pizzazz, and you knew WWE, your trust was that you're going to continue to tune in every week to WWE because you know it's probably going somewhere. And evidently it did. You know what I mean? That's when we got the Festival of Friendship and stuff. But sorry, I'll just start with the Christian Cage thing. I find it actually, like, if I was Edge or people like that, I mean, Edge, like, he must have had a falling out with Edge or something, did he? Because, like he got a fucking spot in the Rumble, got like, Vince gave him that camera time to fucking have a moment where they hugged and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, oh, I'm going to sign with fucking AEW. Like, was it because they put a couple of extra dots on the check? Like, I'm sure WWE would have offered that contract as well.
Do you know what he should have done?
I'm at a loss for words. Someone please put some context on it for me.
We did mention it before. He actually should have hit the kill switch and then did the AEW thing in the ring like Brett at the WCW or something like that. If you want us to be
I'd have had more respect for that. I'd have had more respect. And then spat in the announcer's face or something. It should have been like, I don't know.
At this stage, I feel real sorry for him. I think he probably had something that he wanted to say, but he was watching backstage and just took up his little script and tore it. I'm not saying that in here. I can't do that. And we'll walk down. I'll sign my contract and I'll walk out. But I can't believe what I've just done, and it's too far gone for me to turn around and quit.
Wait till next week, Jay. He might not have signed at all. He could have wrote "fuck you."
You're grand, thanks.
He should have showed up. He should have showed up on Raw with the brass ring.
But you're not wrong. Like, I mean, if he was to do one thing that, like, he could have been a highlight of this whole event. He could have brought his gear and been a break the curtain fucking surprise. Not just walk down inside and sign. Any one of them matches, he could have just ran down and did something. I mean, everybody gets to run down to an AEW ring and do something anyway. It's like they used every single person on their roster on one event because it costs 50 quid. It's like let's just fill this room full of talent. I mean, let's have more wrestlers backstage than we have fans up front. Half the world doesn't know who half these people are. This is our kind of first major event. It's a fucking stinker. It's a clanger. I mean, when the Young Bucks see our highlight and there was more botches in that fucking match than I care to remember, I was even saying, maybe it's just the first match to nervous. Maybe we'll get past this. The next one's going to be better. The next one's going to be better. And then Christian walks down and literally does nothing. He doesn't even say how he is. There's nothing.
But just on what? Sorry, Jay. You finished?
Shoot, baby, shoot.
Sorry, pal. Just on what Niall said there about the ladder match, like that, perfect opportunity to have Christian come out and to have him win it, especially because you had that brass. It would have made fucking sense there.
If he got up to the top.
Yeah, if he went and got that brass ring, it would make complete sense. It's like, yeah, of course, Christian, never given proper go in WWE, reaching for that brass ring. Now it makes fucking sense. You know,
and his tag partner's main event at Mania, like, so. I mean, it's perfect time.
It all kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
But even forgetting about the Edge thing, just that bit of Christian reaching up and grabbing it would have made a lot of sense, I think. But like Ethan Page is good. Don't get me wrong, he is good. But Jesus Christ, like it was like a wet fart him coming out. You know what I mean? When everyone was expecting the big new signing to come out. It was an absolute dud. I don't know what they were playing at. And like his nickname is literally Captain Charisma. And he came out, scribbled on a bit of paper and fucked off. And I was like, what? Like, Jesus Christ. Now the only thing
that's the opposite.
The only thing I can think is that they were backstage and they went, Christian, you've gone way over time. We don't have 10 minutes to give you or 5 minutes to give you. Just go out there, sign the thing and get back. It was an absolute joke. He should have been.
Well, if that was the case, Joe, to be fair, if that was the case and you're someone like Christian and that, I'd be like, do you know what? I think I'm gonna take a flight back to New York then. Like, if we've gone way over time, because I should be a priority. You know what I mean? You want me to be your big signing. Like, I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. Like, I'm telling you here now, and I'm gonna fucking say it. And people can laugh at me, and I guarantee you Jim Cornette will agree with every single fucking word I say. You may as well hire Shitstain, as Jim Cornette likes to call him. You may as well hire fucking Vince Russo, because you know what? You might actually get some structure for a couple of weeks. Because at this moment of time, there's absolutely nothing. Nothing.
But I mean, like, again, just thinking about things that they could have done to turn around and maybe inject a little excitement into the product going forward. Captain Charisma literally could have just walked down there and, again, just put together a whole little spiel saying, you know, I've been here, I've been there, I've wrestled everywhere, I've wore belts left, right, and center. I've been in this business an awful long time. I was the guy who should have, but never could have. Now I'm here to turn things around. I take a look at your book, and I take a look at your roster. I take a look at everything that's wrong in this company, and that's the one reason I'm here. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to take over. And then, boom, after that segment, send them into the fucking brass ring. Just basically wipe out everybody, create a superstar, a kind of a voice of the conscientious wrestling objector. Make him everything Cornette says about the product. Fucking run it through Christian's bleeding mouth. Let him be the guy saying, this is all shit, you're all terrible. I'm the greatest ever, and you all know it. I just never got to prove it to you. Now's my time. And fucking have him run a little program with who's TNA champ, or the TNT champ? Darby Allin right now?
Darby Allin, yeah.
Straight into the mix. Lend and let a little rub of credibility on fucking Darby. Have a program of him, a best of 3 for that belt. Let me lend credibility to that belt.
Yeah, bring back the best of 7 even. Do you know
what I mean?
That's
a series over the course of a year to one. Invest a little credibility into the belt by somebody who's wore belts around his waist and is credibility.
I believe in that. But that's beautiful, Jay, actually. Sorry. Yeah. Can I actually just...
And it brings
credibility, 101, baby.
It brings credibility back to the product as well, not just the belt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's just
absolutely. I mean, can we say something as well? Because I'm actually getting very annoyed. Not at anyone here. I'm actually getting very annoyed with the narrative that AEW, WCW was a very fucking successful product and done right for a long time. People need to remember that. Like, Jay brought a very, very valid point there. And personally, one of my favorite gimmicks of all time was the best of 7 series for the TV title. And there was one with Fifth Finlay and Chris Benoit. There was one with Chris Benoit and Booker T, which I know Noel will remember. They were fucking phenomenal matches. They were done in the old hockey, basketball kind of style. Brilliant stuff. Very, very innovative things. Like, all of their stuff was great. People only remember the fucking mess at the end of WCW shows. Do you know, where it was like 20 fucking NWO lads talking shite and spray painting Goldberg? They don't kind of want to go back and look at the absolute genius of Kevin Sullivan's booking at the start of the show. You know what I mean? With the likes of the Juventud Guerreras and Jerichos and some of the great matches that we got to see. So WCW, you know, AEW aren't even nearly in that ballpark. Just because they have made an aesthetic appearance to make it look like that, that's the illusion. That's the illusion. The illusion is that they have put together a professional wrestling show. But the reality is that they're fucking lunatics that don't know what they're doing. And you've got, as Joe, as Noel, and as Jay has said, and I'm sure as countless people around, and I don't care if you're listening to this show and you get offended by this because, you know, your Baldwin book is your favorite and I offend you. Fuck them. They don't know what they're doing because they literally are in business for themselves. They don't care about you. They care about how much money you spend. They care about fucking how good they look on TV. They're in business for themselves. They're absolute frauds and absolute morons. Because don't forget, before the speaking out, all these fucking guys were in business with the same jabronis that we're talking about, the Joey Ryans and all that. And then all of a sudden, oh, we better cut them off. That's bad for business. Do you know what I mean? So fuck them guys. I have no time for them.
But it's look from the problem with AEW right now is it could be fixed. It could be. I'm not being completely negative.
Oh, it can be. It can
right?
Be. Yes.
But it's like setting up a chessboard and playing drafts. If they have, like,
They've everything there, Jay. They've all
the pieces are all there, but they're worried about tonight and tomorrow's response. They're running a sprint against a marathon. Yeah, well, no, there's a lot of everybody's the problem. It would take one person.
No, but the one person that the problem is the guy funding. You know what I mean?
Look,
that's all I'm saying. Sorry.
He's us with a billionaire father. He's a fan. I honestly believe at this stage that AEW is a tax write-off. I mean, if you don't spend your money, the American government takes it from you. You've got to find ways to get rid of that money, because sooner or later they'll come knocking and say, "Here, we want loads of that," and they will. But AEW right now has a lot of talent. It's got a lot of shit as well, and it like. Even with that, the Christian program with the TNA title, grab the fucking, the golden donut, box off that title with Darby and him for a fucking year, like we said, invest some serious interest in it as a title, introduce some fucking projected psychology into the creation of this belt. It does so many things. It takes Cody away from his belt and says, right, you had a good year with it. You're no longer the Cody show that's doing a little bit in between the rest of this quagmire, and it's something that you're responsible for as well. You brought all your friends in. Now you go off and play with your friends, because your belt is otherwise engaged in a year-long program to build one man up to the point where another man is. Let's box that off. Now you've got to wrestle in the first hour or the middle hour. You're no longer the main show at the dance, because Chris is off doing weird, funny skit shit, and he's obviously clearly given up on life, wrestling, and belts, and the AEW title seems to be just jumping from man to man who doesn't know what to do with it in the grander scheme of things. Like they have no projection going into, like again, on the last episode we spoke about how Vince is running a publicly floated company, and he's always projecting for year after year after year. He's making decisions now that'll affect the company in 365 days. Tony Khan's making decisions now that are going to affect the company in 15 minutes. That's not how you can fucking work. Like, it's.
I mean, look, obviously, Jay, like you're right in what you're saying. Like, obviously, he's a successful businessman. He runs the Jacksonville Jaguars and whatever. Right, that's fine. That seems to be their niche. They can run football clubs and they know how to run stuff like that. But the thing about this was, and Joe and Niall can actually back me up on this one. Like, this business is completely different to anything else, unless you are like, you don't have to have a business brain for this. Like, forget about dots and O's and crossing the T's. And this business is about knowing how the business works and what sells. It's based on psychology, right?
Yeah, the only thing I think about, you know what I mean? He obviously got bored with NFL because Brady just owned the franchise for so many years. But what's really weird to me, like, I can't imagine. Let's take, for example, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't imagine Joe Glazier walking down onto the pitch with a flipboard and saying to Tom Brady, "I think this play should be a run and play. What do you think?" Like, I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine if I won the Euro Millions that I would be sitting backstage at a show, pumping money into it. And on one side I've Stone Cold Steve Austin, and on the other side I've Bret Hart. And I get the two boys together and say, "Lads, this is how I think this match should go. We're gonna lay it out, right? It's gonna be brilliant." Like, that's what you're paying those guys to do.
Yeah.
Stay away from it. Just pay the checks. Be a fan if you want. Sit out in the audience.
Ted Turner did it. Ted Turner stayed away.
Put a throne out in the audience if you want to have a joy of a Triple H, and sit in the throne and put a crown on your head if you want. I don't care. But please, let bookers and legends and wrestlers put wrestling together. Stay away.
You made a good point there, right? Bret Hart even turned around. Remember, he said that WWE offered him a job to book matches backstage. And he said, the only reason I turned it down was because I just can't do the travel. Obviously, because of whatever, like, health conditions he's had. He said, 100% I would have loved to do it, but I just can't travel the schedule that they want me to, right? That's a perfect opportunity to have someone like Bret Hart on a fucking Zoom call. Do you know what I mean? Or, not just him, anybody. Do you know what I mean? It could be Brett, or well, all right, well, not anybody, but it could be Brett, or it could be someone like that you could go, right, this is your guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are doing it in the NBA now at the moment, where certain coaches can't fucking actually meet their guys, so they're on the Zoom call with the guys, and they have their assistants there. There's always enough people to relay the message.
Ian, I don't think they even need to go outside of AEW. You've Arn Anderson, Tony Blanchard, Jerry Lynn, Billy Gunn. These guys are all backstage. Like,
Ricky Steamboat is there, isn't he?
Oh, Steamboat there as well, is he? You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck? They don't need to be getting on Zoom calls. These guys are there in the.
Imagine some little fucking American fucking moron like himself, right? Just going, I am the man. I'm gonna look like it, and I am the man.
Look, let's move on to the main event, because you know what I mean. Well, we do, because you know it holds. It's very close to one of our sayings that we say on the network. And these boys the other night certainly did not forget the talk. And I'm just going to put that out there for starters. I've never seen a match that was either sponsored by Johnson's baby powder or Odlum's flour or whatever it was. I've never been so. And you know, I don't like hardcore wrestling. I don't like barbed wire. I don't like all this stuff.
You fucking hate hardware wrestling.
It doesn't interest me at all. But you know what? I said, I'll watch it. It's Moxley and it's Omega. I'll watch it. The ref in the hazmat suit. I straight away lost for words. Could they not have got a hazmat suit that looked like the referee's colours with the stripes on it? You know what I mean? Like put a bit of effort in if you're going to go there with it. You know what I mean?
I don't think hazmat suits do anything for fire explosions anyway. That's more of a chemical
actually,
thing.
Joe, what did you think of that, Joe? I thought that was actually ridiculous.
As Niall said earlier on, the only reason to have that there was for a reveal, which didn't fucking happen. Nonsense of the highest order.
It should have been a reveal, though, shouldn't it? Like someone, like, I don't know, it could have been Jericho or the next guy that was going to get the title. Do you know what I mean?
Could have been Christian.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
There you go.
It was fucking dog shit. You know, like they could, you know, you could have had.
I wish it was Tony Khan.
Yeah, well, you could have had at that in the brass ring match. You could have had, you know, Ethan Page.
Yeah.
And that would have made, and people would have thought, is that really the Hall of Fame fucking signing? And then Christian Cage, in the middle of that match, whips the hazard suit off. Yeah. Holy fucking shit. It would have been better than what they did with him, where he came out, did nothing, and fucked off.
That would have been, that's a great point, Joe.
We would have guessed, though. I mean, even a man in a hazmat suit with his skills and talent would have moved better than those two cluster fucks in the ring. You'd have guessed straight away. That's a professional wrestler in a hazmat suit. How'd you know? Even in walking backwards, there's more skill and talent than these two cluster fucks bashing each other in the heads.
Now, this match was built up to nearly be the next Fukushima meltdown. This is how they built this match up, right? This was going to be the match. Now, I don't know how to even describe it, right? But I'll tell you one thing. I've gone into town and I've bought better selection boxes of fireworks for the kids for Halloween than what I got in this match. And I just, like, do we even need to start talking about Eddie Kingston coming down to side?
I live in Finglas, trust me, and Jay lives in Cabra and / Finglas. Trust me, if they wanted the fireworks, they literally should have just called one of us. It's all I'm saying.
I've still got a box of black hats from 1996 in the bedroom there.
Dude, I have one from 1984 under my bed. My uncle gave them to me on my first communion.
So, I you know, forget about the match and everything else that went on in the match. The barbed wire that had very few barbs in it, but we won't even go there anyway. But let's talk about the end of the match. He's lying in the ring, and Eddie Kingston runs down and jumps on him like he's a Navy SEAL out of his company, and he's saving him from a grenade or something like that. And the next thing, the explosion goes off, and I'm thinking, at a minimum, you should be at least blowing out the ring post and collapsing the ring. Give me something. and we get a couple of puffs of smoke, which looked like flower bombs thrown in there from the crowd.
It looked like talc blown off.
But the way he jumped on this guy, you know, I actually thought at one stage that a sniper had broke into the building and he was shooting people or something like that. That's what I thought was going on. And like, once again, whoever's booking this, it totally devalues Eddie Kingston.
He's been ruined. He's been fucking ruined, bless him.
Like people will mention that again and again and again. And I can't even say
a good friend of ours, good friend of mine, someone that I've had the privilege to work with many times over, Paddy Morrow, who got the chance to work with Eddie Kingston the last time he was over before COVID, had nothing but great things to say about Eddie Kingston. And I actually kind of asked him, I was like, you can tell Eddie Kingston is a consummate professional, you know what I mean?
Was on the rise.
Exactly. And as Jay said, it's 100% true. Just halting progress.
We're going to christen him Tony Kant.
But I am going to say about Tony Khan, and this is what bothers me about him.
Tony Kant.
It's the fact that he can't do it. He can't do everything himself. I think Tony Khan he has literally fallen on something beautiful here that he has created. And like, if I was someone like Tony Khan there, or if I was an advisor to Tony Khan, I would be looking and saying, Tony, look at the aesthetics of this. You've created this. Do you know what I mean? Brand new company. This is beautiful. Now let the guys that know what they're doing run it. The same way Ted Turner did. You know what I mean? You've already done your job. You've created this. If you want to have a hand in it, you sign the checks. Yeah. If you want to be the Vince McMahon, where you go, no, I don't like that storyline. No, fair enough. No problem. It's your company.
But you see, the problem with that, Ian, is, forgive me for interrupting you. We spoke about this again before, time and time again. No, there's too many people listening to too many people online. When people online are talking through their cake hole and aren't in charge because they're shy at these things, you can't listen to the fans. You've got to give the fans a product and let them enjoy it or not enjoy it. And forgive me, I interrupted you there. Go on.
No, like, because I was just saying, like, especially in the United States of America, right? It's not like say Premier League football. Noel will back me up on this, right? You've got your manager. He's your manager. Then you've got your director of football. In the US, the GM is the big thing. The general manager decides what happens, even ahead of the fucking guy that's paying him. But he's given that 2-year, 3-year contract to fucking make those decisions, whether for the good or the bad. That's exactly what should be fucking happening here with AEW. There needs to be a GM. Right?
A confident leadership structure.
Exactly. Tony Khan needs to be like, right, I'm paying the checks. I'm overseeing everything. Right. This looks good. That looks good. Boom. Because if Tony Khan wasn't in the fucking locker room licking the ball sacks of all the wrestlers that he fantasized about when he was young, right, he'd actually be overseeing his own product that he's already done a great job on and going, guess what? That main event looked shy because there was puffs of smoke coming out. Do you know what I mean? Instead of drinking with the boys backstage and making it like a little boys party, to be honest with you, he looks like a fucking lad who just wants to be part of that locker room. And I don't blame him from that. You know what I mean? Joe, you're agreeing with me there. Do you want to join in?
I said it before about like that Tony, he's a fan. You know what I mean? And he's living his fucking dream, where he gets to hang out with his mates.
And he's got all the money in the world to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, who happen to be these fucking professional wrestlers. And he's hanging out with them. He doesn't want to piss any of them off because they're his buddies. So he's saying yes to every little bit of bullshit. Like I said it before, where you need, when creatives are involved, you need the straight man to fucking pull the reins back a little bit and go, hold it there, you're going a bit too fucking far with this now. And Tony Khan, I don't think he's doing that. He's just going, oh yeah, awesome, yeah, and he gets excited about it. You know what I mean? Because they're excited, he gets excited. He's like a fucking puppy, and he's just, yeah, that's amazing, yeah, brilliant, yeah, that's unreal, that's awesome. And whereas he's not looking at it objectively and kind of going, Well, if we actually think about it, that actually might be dog shit. You know what I mean? So maybe bring it down a couple of notches.
That's
Now,
why I mentioned the GM thing. Like, if you said, like, if Tony Khan, right, I'm I'll play devil's advocate. I'll play fantasy booker for a minute, right? If I'm Tony Khan here, or if I'm his advisor, I'd say, right, I'm looking at your roster here and who's relevant. I'm telling you here now, the first person I would hand the reins to Arn Anderson. He's your GM. He is your GM now. He makes all the decisions on who's booking the matches, who's, he's going to be the guy that divvies everything out because he's got the respect of the locker room. He's got the respect of the back. There you go. He's your boy. Or you could say, Jay could turn around and say, right, well, give it to Ricky Steamboat. But I think Arn Anderson is a perfect example of someone that or Tony Blanchard, whichever fucking one you want. There's any one of them. Just don't give it to Jake the Snake because he's still a pisshead.
Look, structure is a very interesting and unique thing, right? Everybody outside of it has a view and opinion on it. But there's no other sport quite like professional wrestling.
No, there isn't.
And there's no other structure for a sport quite like it. In the entertainment world, you can't compare anything to it. It's flesh opera with mortal consequences. You need more than somebody who has a great CV. Like, he has a lot of credible men in that company, but none of them were ever of the ascension to the level that is needed to completely command that much ego in one locker room. Like we said there a few episodes ago, there's almost a substructure taking form in AEW that hasn't been squashed very early. You've got the first hour, the second hour, and the third hour. You've got the Cody bit, you've got the AEW belt bit, and then you've got whatever else is going on here. Then you've got the imported Japanese fucking schoolgirl wrestling. You've got a women's division that is running amok. What I would do, there's one man in the world right now of professional wrestling who could turn it right around in about 2-3 months. It's not Aaron. I'd get Fit Finley, and if there's enough money on the planet, I'd say, Fit, come in. Why? We need a bastard. We need a bollocks. We need a hard leather neck fuck who's going to even turn around to Jake the Snake and say, you're wrong. You weren't that good in '96, and you were never great. You talk brilliant, but you're wrong. It needs somebody who is a fucking leader, and they are so rare. Like an army of thousands.
I'd agree with that. Actually,
look, he turned around women's wrestling, full stop. He's the one who lent it its credibility. Now, where are we? 5, 6, 10 years after Fitz's intervention, fucking ladies headlining WrestleMania and all women fucking cards. It's beautiful, brilliant, and glorious, and it happened under one leader. You can't substructure military like that. If you're gonna push as a campaign, you need a fucking general who instills belief in men, can lead men, but also denounce, demote, and cut down men. You get and as much as the credibility of Ricky Steamboat and Arn Anderson and fucking Jake the Snake Roberts were, they were never that good. They never held the big job.
No, that makes sense, Shay, and that kind of goes back to the whole fact that, like, Kevin Sullivan was such a good booker for WCW because he was never mentioned, but he was a guy that could command respect and be like, look, fucking listen to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So great choice there.
You need a leader, and they don't have one.
The one thing when I look at this, I would say is that if you take a look at this, and you take Tony Khan out of there, and you put Triple H in there, okay? Not one of those matches, either in structure, or in gimmick, or in setup, or in backstory line, or whatever it is, would get to walk through that curtain the other night if he was there. It just would not happen.
No.
None of them lend credibility to the business.
He's the best in the business at this moment in time. Fact.
He will stand there and face that down. This is a guy who stands there at times and faces Vince now, and this, and has plenty of arguments with Vince about, our friend Finn Balor and all sorts of stuff like that. And like, when you think about it, all the fan base that's out there find it very easy to go in on WWE and NXT and the Wednesday Night Wars and Triple H is this and he's that and it's the other. have a look at the product that you just paid a full day's work in disposable income to watch, and then you get on your forums and you get on your socials and try to convince us how great it is as you press the purchase button on the latest Orange Cassidy t-shirt. And I want you to stop doing that. I want you to walk into the bathroom and take a hard look in the mirror and try to figure out at what point you describe yourself as a wrestling fan. And that's the only way I can describe it.
You may as well buy yourself a Bailey Hug Me t-shirt at this point.
It's probably more credible.
You know what? It's far more credible. And I'll tell you why. I just want to, I know we're wrapping up here, Noel, but I just want to say in closing, to be honest with you, I think everything you said there is absolutely spot on. Like, I think, you know, Triple H, you know, we've had little jokes and little even disagreements on this podcast about Triple H in the past. Triple H is wrestling at this moment of time, and you know, without someone like Triple H, you know, people like all four of us, for example, would be lost, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? Because when we're looking at NXT, we're going,
he's the one shining light in a quagmire of shit.
Yes. Yeah.
It also this current, if that's the best that they can do in the second year of pandemic with nobody paying at the fucking door, it just goes to cement everything that Vince McMahon has been over the last 35, 40 fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe?
And a second thing, sorry, forgive me, a second aspect, it's starting to look like NXT moved days, not because it was losing the war, but it didn't want the stink of AEW shit all over it.
I have to say, I'm beginning, like, I want AEW to succeed. Of course I do. I don't think there's anyone out there that doesn't.
We all do, yeah.
Any genuine wrestling fan wants any company out there, big or small, to succeed.
Absolutely.
We deserve a viable alternative.
Yeah. But I am in serious worry for AEW at the minute. And down that road, the TNA went down a few years back.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
They're having digs at the competition instead of concentrating on doing their own thing. And they're signing all these legends. They're spending big bucks getting these guys in. And I think like TNA, it won't move the dial enough for them, you know, because everyone's just going to see through it and go, this is the same shit that we saw before with another crowd, you know, because like when I know Niall would know more about this probably than your Ian and Jay now, but when Dixie Carter took over TNA, she came in big money and she was a fan, and TNA went to shit. Right?
She brought Hogan in though, right?
She brought Hogan in, she brought Bischoff, Kevin Nash, and you know, all these big names came in. Macho Man was even there for a short while, you know, turned up once, punched someone, and won a match with the fucking punch. Ridiculous. But
Peace Macho Man, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course, one of the greatest of all time. But you know, that's what I see happening again. I see a fan with big money signing all these big names that aren't going to do a whole lot. A lot of them won't. Like, sure, I think Paul White has already kind of resigned himself to not wrestling. Sting will only be able to do what he did the other night, these cinematic matches. And now Christian, I think, could potentially be a good one. But they've already thrown him into the title scene just straight away, which is another thing TNA used to do. They'd get these big signings in, they'd walk in straight into the title scene. And I just worry so much that they're going down that road again. You know, when they're not looking at how history can repeat itself, and they're just going to end up. Khan's going to throw money at it, and good money after bad, and eventually he's going to have to pull the plug on it because he's just losing too much, and it'll be over. I don't want that to happen. I really don't.
Why don't we close this up by looking at realistically, right, at their options? This is a good conversation to close up on, like realistically, like Cody is Cody's a bigger star at this moment of time in this world of wrestling than Christian is, just because he came back at the Royal Rumble. doesn't mean that he's a bigger star than Cody. So Cody's been kind of, and by the way, had matches that have been fucking phenomenal, right? So Cody has kind of taken that kind of proper professional wrestling fucking view of stepping back and letting these little fanboys run their little shit show for a while. And then he'll obviously make his mark to strike eventually, which I hope.
I was about to say, I think you're being very optimistic there.
Yeah.
Very optimistic. He got out of the match for 14 fucking minutes in his own pay-per-view, pretty much. He was like, I can't be in this ring. I'm sitting over there.
I know, and the funny thing about it, but you understand what I mean. It's like Rhodes is there, and yet like Kenny Omega is the star of the show constantly, and fucking John Moxley is the star of the show constantly, and it's the same shite every time these two have a match. It's either ridiculous, fake, barbaric shite. Remember the one where they had the bed of barbed wire? It's like, I don't understand it. Like, I mean, like John Moxley wins the fucking basically the Lutez Award, and you're like, there's nothing Lutez about this guy. And I am a Moxley fan. Don't get me wrong. I actually do like Moxley from his stuff that he did in WWE, because guess what? In WWE, with structure, he was made to wrestle, and the reason he didn't like WWE was because he didn't get the opportunity to disobey the boss and go and do this shit.
I used to wonder why they'd ever ran with Moxley as the guy. I always thought he was the sleeper. He could have been the
Now you know.
Now I know. Now I absolutely know. He is happy being that fucking hardware wrestler. And you just said something recently. It's been sitting there in front of the whole fucking company all along. Do you know what I would do? I don't think Tony Khan has anything to do with this except for the cash. I think he just goes, yes, 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 yes. We put too much of the bullshit on his feet. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. He has no history in this. He's making bad decisions. And the answer is sitting right there in his own fucking company. Again, there's the Cody AEW Revolution All In, one of the greatest pay-per-views I've seen in 20 years, to the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen in fucking 2 years.
Yeah.
No, he's not the fucking guy. Do you know who is the guy? He's the young, dumb cum shot. He is the money shot. The world loves him. He was the guy who went off and did all this at the right age, blah, 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 blah. The answer's sitting right there, and it's his older fucking brother. I'd put the whole company in Dustin's hands, and I'd say, I tell you what, you know how to wrestle. You understand psychology. You're your father's son. You're dead quiet. You made a fucking gimmick work for 20 goddamn years. You've got the respect of the whole industry. Please help us. You're already on the payroll.
GM, baby.
Yes, let him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to Anton at this point. I wish Tony Khan felt as passionately as I did, and it's not my money.
He's got the answer sitting under his nose, like.
The worst thing about it, like myself and Joe and all of us, like, we're dying to have an alternative. We're dying to have another TNA at its peak.
Wrestling needs it.
Yeah, we want that. We want this product to be good. We want to tune into this pay-per-view and get that final Battle 2013 rematch. This is what we want. You know what I mean? But
Tony Khan promised us that, though, Noel. He said he would make wrestling relevant again. And, like, everything that you boys have said to me tonight has actually reassured me in my mind that he is just a little fanboy listening to the clowns that are the Young Bucks and Kenny Omegas and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, most outstanding wrestler of the year award was given to, like, really, how do we take these people seriously? Like, I'm going to say it now, and I'm going to say it for the last time. Like, Dave Meltzer, realistically, his name should not come up on any more of these shows because it's quite clear what he's doing. He's a clown. He's obviously lost his mind, or else he's just working. He's trying to work everybody. And we, being real wrestling fans, shouldn't be worked by someone like that. He's a fucking moron. You know what I mean? When Meltzer driver has to be, when Jim Ross has been told in the earphone to emphasize Meltzer driver, case in point, my friends. Do you know what I mean?
AEW is what happens when you listen to internet wrestling fans.
You just on that, like if you look at the success WCW had over WWE, or how TNA cut out a big chunk of wrestling fans for themselves, WCW did it by having their cruiserweight division. People tuned in to watch that, because it wasn't happening on the other show, and this was the place to watch it. When TNA was in its pomp and it was coming up through the ranks, and people started paying attention, they had the X division. It was completely different. It wasn't just cruiserweights. It was, it could be big guys that could do things that cruiserweights could do, but AEW have to find some niche for themselves. They can't continue being WWE light and constantly referencing them, because they're just going to die.
I think that's what Joe said. That's a great way of closing this, Niall. And you're the host tonight. Like, what way should we?
Yeah, I think we've said really what needs to be said. I don't think we can sort of discuss any further about what changes need to be made or what our expectation is of the product and how successful we want it to be. What I would say in closing out the show is I'd like to give a shout out to our brother, Carl King Woe. Get well soon, brother. We're all thinking about you here. He'll be back soon, holding that gavel in King Woe's court again, dropping podcasts. So we're thinking about you, brother. Where else? Where else do we go with it? You know what I mean? We shall live in hope of having an alternative.
We want the wrestling world to be better.
And that's all I can really say. So as always with the admin, head over to YouTube, subscribe to the Dynamo Podcast Network. Some fantastic content going up there every single day. Press that bell notification button so you get the latest content delivered straight to your screen. You'll also find us on Podbean, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you want to pick up your audio version of the podcast we do. And as always, we look forward to next week and a better wrestling world.